Alrighty, so tomorrow after the patch goes live, we are going to have a brand new green Chad King in the game. And I wanted to go over the character and a little bit of the banner and stuff like that and kind of give you a should you summon, because he's kind of an interesting character, but he's a New Year's seasonal unit, which means that he's a little bit more exclusive. There's a couple of weird things about him. For example, this regular, the original blue festival Chad King has become quite useful as of recent because of the new you are Meliodas that's come out. He's very good in the sense that you can use this king who has 2 AoE cards, which will end up proccing Meli's passive a lot easier. You can basically just use those 2 AoE cards at the beginning of the match. Then you can use, a Meli card, and then you literally get 3 stacks of Meli's passive on him. So it's really, really easy to sort of rush towards his all creation buff, which is what you're kind of looking for when you use Meli. So he's definitely become more useful in that aspect, but there's a new one that's coming out. I do like the fact that it is it's going to be using the same name and everything like that, which means that he's going to be sharing the cosmetics with this older king, which means that if you've already invested into this, old school festival Chad King, which a lot of you probably have, if you've been playing the game for a while anyway. Some of you might be newer, you might not have him or anything, but I do like that. I'm not going to have to worry about buying new costumes for him or upgrading new costumes or anything like that. This will be a brand new character that I will already basically have invested into. So that's very, very cool. He does use the same ultimate and everything. Let's go over the character's skills and stuff first. So he is green, of course. His passive is, at the start of the battle, applies a shield equal to 300% of the attack for 3 turns to all allies. So it's a 3-turn shield. Once it's broken, it's gone forever. It doesn't reapply. A lot of people have been sort of comparing this character to the collab Roxy from Mushoku Tensei, because she puts up a new shield at the beginning of every turn, and then when you break it, you get attack-related stats. Whereas this character is kind of similar in that regard, but it doesn't reapply the shield, which is kind of odd. It is a pretty decent shield, though. I've watched a little bit of gameplay and everything, and it seems like it's kind of strong. It can take a couple of hits and everything before it actually breaks. But going on, we have, for every applicable ally, which in this case is 7 Deadly Sins and Fairy units, which is kind of interesting because the fairies have not been good for a while. There's a lot of rumors that the green Galaxinia is going to end up becoming the next LR character, and I don't want to say it's all but confirmed, but there is a lot of evidence, at least from the Leaks Discord, for that being the case. So could potentially be an interesting character to have if you want to push towards a fairy meta or something like that. But for all applicable allies participating in battle, increases their damage by 10%. So that's kind of interesting. You get a 30% damage increase. When the shield is removed from an ally, apply a buff that increases attack-related stats by 20% for 2 turns. So I think ideally this is a character that you're going to be using if you want to go second, if you're lower CC or whatever, which is a bit ironic considering that I feel like a lot of free-to-play players and people who typically have lower CC are probably not going to have the gems to summon for this unit, which is really stupid, but I guess that's just the way they typically do this kind of thing. So because he's a seasonal character, he's going to be a little bit more exclusive, he's going to be harder to get, so if you don't summon for him now, who knows when the next banner that he's going to be on is even going to be out. But I just don't know if he's actually worth rushing out and getting. It seems like from all of the gameplay that I've seen of him so far, he's not that great. He's his skills right here, you can see he actually has a single target deplete skill, so he's got a little bit of ult control, but there's a couple of taunts and stuff like that in the meta right now, so I'm not sure how useful this will actually be, in certain circumstances, of course. Obviously, you could get some use out of it, but not sure if it's going to be great. And then he has an AoE Pierce card, so he does not have double AoE, which is what people have been using the blue one for, so he's not going to be just an instant replacement or anything there, so do keep that in mind. He does use the same ultimate, so honestly, I do like the old ultimate. Removes buffs from allies, or removes debuffs from allies and buffs from enemies, and then it increases the amount of damage taken on the enemies, which is pretty cool. So I don't necessarily think that he's like worth going out of your way for particularly. I'm definitely going to try him out, and who knows, maybe I'll really like him, and my opinion might change on that. But for the most part, it's kind of hit or miss trying to invest into a character like this, because like although the Seven Deadly Sins team is pretty relevant at the moment, the fairies part of his passive, like being an applicable ally, is incredibly hit or miss. There's like 2 good fairies, maybe not even. I would say like the green Golden Wings Elaine is the only fairy that I actually would like to use at the moment, and maybe if Gloxinia ends up getting a good LR, if that ends up being the case, there could be some decent workings of a fairy team here. But for the most part, I don't know how like actually reliable it's going to be. Who knows how good it's even going to like be in the meta, and how long it will even last. So buying into this is probably not the smartest decision. But looking at the banner, it's an okay banner. I mean, not anything super good, of course. Maybe the most notable things on here is you have Green Summer Freya. So if you need Freya for like Nidhogg or something, I prefer the red Freya for Nidhogg personally. But if you just need a Freya in general, she is on the banner. There is the green Golden Wings Elaine, which I do like. Jelly King was given out for free not that long ago, so I probably wouldn't worry about summoning just for that, unless you're just like a brand new player. I mean, I don't know that you even really want to get Jelly King in the first place, to be honest with you. The newer Halloween Merlin is on here, which is kind of interesting. Really, nobody has used this character since she originally dropped, so I don't know that I would go out of my way for that. Summer Merlin has definitely dropped off in terms of like, you know, viability. Like, I mean, she's still good, but people don't really use her anymore. She's a little squishy. The Summer Deanne on here is also kind of nice if you need some help with OG Demon, but realistically, a lot of these characters are pretty situational, not actually meta relevant or anything like that, not very like worth going out of your way for. Obviously, you can see right here it's a 600 banner. We just had the Elizabeth Festival into the Meliodas Festival, so if I had to guess, you're probably tapped out on diamonds. If not, I mean, maybe you could grab a copy if you really wanted to. This is going to be one of those banners where I'm not that interested in completing a full rotation. If I can get one copy of the character, I'm definitely going to skip out and just drop out of the banner at that point, because realistically, I don't need any of these extra characters like bad enough to where I want dupes of them. Like, I don't even use most of these characters a whole lot unless it's like, you know, the odd character out. Like, you know, I do use the OG Demon Summer Deanne, of course, but for the most part, you know, I don't care about getting dupes for these characters. I'm not really like a dupe fiend or anything like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really recommend you summon on this one. I don't think that he's going to be like that great. Who knows? Obviously, take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, because, you know, next week I think is when we're supposed to be getting the new LR character. If it ends up being Gloxinia and he's really good, and it's worth actually having this character, maybe you can, you know, go back to the banner if you've got some gems and grab a copy of him if you really want to. But for the most part, I would say, at least with what we have in the game currently, at least week 1 of him being out, it doesn't look like it's really worth grabbing a copy of him for now. I don't know. If you want to try your luck, by all means, do what you want with your gems. They are your gems, but I personally would probably stay away from this guy for the time being. If you can get him on a future banner or something like that, maybe that could be kind of cool. But for the most part, I think if you're going to be using a king with the new melee, for example, this king should be just fine. I think he's going to probably give you a better a better team overall, just because you're going to be able to get his ultimate, or not ultimate, but all creation a lot faster and stuff. So I guess it really just comes down to how good the fairies are going to end up being. But if I had to guess, I would not hedge my bets on that. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, of course. If you're interested in this new king, if you think he's going to be really cool, or if you've, maybe if you already played JP and you already have the character or something like that, let me know how it's kind of been going for you. But yeah, that's pretty much just my opinion on the whole thing. But either way, we will be doing live summons for the character. I summon for every character, regrettably. So I will be doing a one and done later on tonight whenever the banner drops. So if you want to stop by and hang out, feel free to subscribe if you're not already. And then, yeah, pop by the live stream. We'll be testing him out and stuff on stream. Might even mess around with some of the new final boss Escanor as well. So, yeah, if you're around, I'll see you then. If not, have a great day. You see maybe tomorrow or something like that. I do upload pretty much every day. So thanks for watching. Have a good one.